because, you know, I gotta take up more time. Oh, there's heavy armor. Here we go. Ah, my back. Here is the armor. Let's get into using what I will be using. Let's get into using what I will be using. Doesn't make that much sense. But I'm so tired, I have to go with it. It's already, guys, we just went over an hour. Okay. So, enough talk. I will go to recommend items you should chew for the class, effective and easier for new players. Uh. Huh. 149. Okay, so here's just some armor. Some like things that can but I'll let you see more. Okay. I would go with the recommendation, yeah, I already said that. So I'm just gonna make a quick thing of how much damage I'm gonna take a Warhammer because dwarves are proficient in. So this is I'm not gonna tell you how I went about this, and then I'll explain it a bit later. So, 3, 2. Alright. You can even read that. Okay. I just wrote down is a Warhammer plus 4. So, if I had rolled a 4, that'd be an 8. And let's say I hit. So it would be 1d8 plus 2. That'd be a 10. Bludgeoning damage. Bludgeoning, there's like a bunch of different bludgeoning. Like there's poison, like I was telling you. There's, the main damages like you really do are piercing, which is like a, you know, your an arrow, slashing, you know, an axe, and bludgeoning, well, a warhammer. So now that we got this template, I would like to go over different weapons now. Get ready for a very time-consuming piece of information now, y'all. Alright, I'm gonna see how long this takes. Okay, ammunition weapons require a type of ammunition to use. You can, you can search at the end of the battle for half of the expended ammunition you use, as long as it's like arrows and stuff. During the fight. You need a free hand to load an arrow or other ammunition. An ammunition weapon could be a sling, bow, or crossbow. There are more. Finesse weapons can either use dexterity or strength for attacking and damage, but if you're using one, you must use one using the one you're attacking for the damage and vice versa. Heavy weapons are too large and bulky for small creatures to use effectively. The small creature has disadvantage when using this weapon. This includes great swords and the like. Light weapons are light and can be dual wielded with ease. This includes short swords and other small weapons. Loading weapons can only be shot once per turn because of the time it takes to load a weapon. These include crossbows and blow guns. Ranged weapons are weapons that can be used from afar. When using these two numbers, you got two numbers. There's your normal range and there's the long range. With the normal range, damage to hit and the damage is all normal. But the long range goes farther, but it gives disadvantage on the roll. So I'd have to roll disadvantage if I was going to roll a natural 20 and a 10. You see, I could have gotten a natural 20, but I got a 10. So sad. But it gives disadvantage on the roll. The long range is as far as you can go. The maximum long range is as far as you can go. From beyond that, you can no longer shoot any farther. All ranged weapon attacks use the dexterity modifier except if the weapon has a thrown property. When using a ranged weapon at a range of 5 feet or fewer, the roll to hit has a disadvantage because you're trying to aim a hard-to-aim weapon at point-blank range. You can never shoot farther than long range. So basically, it's like you'd have disadvantage 10. You'd have 10 to hit if you're shooting right in front of the person. Like, this is not expecting. So what I mean by this is, it's not like, okay, you might be thinking, well, it's kind of easy to shoot something in front of you. This is like if the opponent is like moving around. Like if you're in combat, the opponent is like moving around, like back and forth. It's kind of hard to aim properly. A weapon with the reach property is a melee attack that can be used to attack up to 5 feet away from you. So this means, this is me, uh, this is me, and say this is how long it can normally attack. Well, now I can attack over here. So I can attack all the way over there. It's like this includes like spears and pikes and whips. Special weapons are special and have special effects. Special weapons include lances and nets. They're special. Like lances are kind of weird, and nets are, well, nets, and they weird as well. Thrown weapons can be used with strength instead of dexterity for range attacks. I believe all thrown weapons have the range property. These can be, but are not only hand axes, daggers, and javelins. Two-handed weapons require two hands to wield and use property. These include great swords and battle axes. And finally, there is versatile weapons. That is a weapon that can be in one or two hands. You can have a longsword in one hand, but you could exert more force with two hands. So what I mean by this is my normal damage die for using one hand. 2 damage. This is my damage die if I'm using two hands on it. 4 damage. Now, this does mean that this could roll an 8 and this could roll a 1. But, this could also roll a 10 and this could roll an 8. The maximum of both, but it's 2 more. So, the damage possibility is higher. Oh, there's also improvised weapons, but that's like up to your DM to decide the damage. You know, it's like a frying pan. Alright. Now, while you guys can look at this while I break down some things. So notice like you can see the light finesse, light thrown, two-handed light thrown, light thrown, or versatile heavy reach, two-handed heavy, two-handed heavy, two-handed heavy reach, two-handed reach, and special. So you can see like all these things, and also look at their damage. Like this one does. This one. I think the most damaging one here are both the maul and the greatsword. Now, the largest damage dice is probably the lance, but you could get a 1, but that's the lowest. But on the maul and the greatsword, the lowest you can get is a 2. So you can get a 12, but you can also get a 2 at lowest. So it's actually a bit better. And also, lances are kind of weird. Okay, so, like, look at that. Look at their damage. Blowgun does 1 damage. Oh, it's kind of weird. Weird. Like, I think blowguns normally do more damage. It's just, it really depends, like, or that might be like in a normal world, but like your DM can decide if yes, guns are like I mean like black powder guns, not actual like machine guns, and they're gonna be magical. Like you can do anything with magic. Okay, so Warhammer, basically, I'm using strength for it because it does not have the finesse feat, and if it did, I would still not use it. So let's +2 for proficiency because I'm a dwarf. So it's already +2. And then so +2 again for strength because I'm using strength. Now strength can be used for damage. So it's a +2 to damage. So I'll at least get a 3, or I could be a 10. 10. Warhammers can be versatile, so I could have a D10 instead of a D8. D8 is just the damage and bludgeoning. Light crossbows, I have no dexterity, so it's just a +2 because of proficiency. So 1d6 +0 because I have no proficiency in it. Alright. Okay. So this next part, you gotta really know your dexterity modifier for this part. So it's right here. Right here. So for me it's +0, so you know, just know it's not bad. But if you have like a +3 or a +2, or maybe like a -1, you gotta be wary of that to know what you should probably go with, and you know, maybe know if you're went with one class that doesn't have maybe some benefits such as heavy armor, to go with a pretty high dexterity. Or I'm sorry, alright, so you could say dexterity, we modify it as dex. Abbreviated. Constitution, con. Intelligence, I think it's intelligence. Wisdom is wisdom. Charisma is charisma. Strength is still strength. But those two, I think, are abbreviated. Like, I guess you could do that to wisdom, but it sounds weird. It doesn't sound like some word. Okay. Oh, that took 11 minutes. Alright. Alright. That almost fell. Okay, now we get into armor. Look at that. So, when you get into armor, your armor class, or AC, like you see right there, armor class, determines the roll that must be made in order to hit you. So, if I rolled a 17 +0, let's say, and your armor class was a 19 or an 18, I would not hit. If it was a 17, I would hit, and I could do damage. So, you know, having a good armor class is always good, because if you can avoid damage, it's always good. You know, why have a high hit points if you just have a lot of, you know, if you can't be hit, you know, you don't need hit points. Or as many. Okay, so your armor class automatically starts as 10. So, if you have no armor on, it's 10. This is increased by your dexterity modifier. I think this is also decreased by your dexterity modifier. So, if I had no armor on, it would just be a 10. If I had a 9 in dexterity, I would have a 9 in armor class. So, there's a greater than 50% chance that someone's gonna hit me. If I have, there's also, this is increased by your dexterity. So, if I had let's say I had a +3, I had a 13. 13 armor class. So there's 3 types of armor: light, medium, and heavy. Light armor, it gives little protection to you, but you get to add your full dexterity modifier. So let's say the best light armor you can get is only 2 better than 10. But that is still 2. So, you know, you're still have if you have no modifiers, there's a good chance that someone's not going to hit you. You get to add your full modifier, dexterity modifier. So you could have, let's say you had a 13. That's a good starting thing. You'd have about a 15 armor class. You can improve that. You can do a lot of stuff. Medium armor it gives decent amount of protection, but you can only add your dexterity modifier up to +2. So if you have a really good dexterity, you can't really use it. You can only use it to a maximum of 2. So you can get a maximum of 17, which is a lot better than 12. But actually, a lot of classes can't use, like, the more heavy it gets, they can't use that. And, well, you know, let's say you had let's say +4 to your, like, let's say you had +4 to your dexterity. The highest studded leather, you get you'd get a 16 armor class. Well, let's say you had a chain shirt. I don't know. So, well, yeah, you want to change shirt because you don't want to you don't go on scale mail. So, if you had that, you'd have a +2 maximum of +2. That's a 15. So you kind of have to choose what you want. Also, you start to have disadvantages on stealth. Like, you can have disadvantage on stealth with a light class, but it's really hard to have. But disadvantage on stealth gives you disadvantage if you're wearing that armor, disadvantage on the stealth saving throw. So you'd have disadvantage if you were using it. Then there's heavy armor. Heavy armor gives you the most protection, but you cannot add your dexterity modifier at all. Not at all. Plate mail can give you an armor class of 18, the highest one that normally gives you. But you get disadvantage on strength and on stealth, but you also need a prerequisite stealth or strength to even use it. So you need a strength of 15 to even use it. So, like, that's not that bad if you're a warrior class. It's like really doesn't matter if you're a warrior class because you already have a strength of probably a 16. But if you're like a lower class, having Venus plate is gonna be pretty hard. It does also give you the best. Shields. Well, and also heavy armor costs a lot. Shields give a +2 to AC. They take up a hand, so you can't use two-handed weapons or loading weapons. But they give you +2, so that means that you could have a 20 with plate, or let's say you had a +3 with for dex, and let's say you had a studded leather, 15. You have a 17, which is pretty good. No disadvantage on stealth. Or, well, if you have the best in medium armor, it's not that good because you have disadvantage. But let's say you had a breastplate, which is the next best thing, and you don't get disadvantage. You'd have let's say you had your full dexterity up to it, so that's a 18. 18 armor class is pretty good. So, shields are a good thing to consider. Alright. Okay. So, light armor takes 1 minute to don, 1 minute to doff. Medium armor takes 5 minutes to don, 1 minute to doff. Heavy armor takes 10 minutes to don and 5 minutes to doff. So heavy armor is very cumbersome for what it does. Shields, you don't really have to really worry about it. So basically what it means about doff and donning is like, the time it takes. You don't really have to worry about it unless it's like a tense situation. You gotta be fast or you're in combat. That's basically what it means. Okay, so I will be having a chainmail, which gives me an armor class of 16, and I will be using a shield, so I have an armor class of 18. Shield and chainmail. You do get disadvantage on strength or stealth checks, and you need a strength of 13, but I already got a strength of 14, so I'm fine. And we also get a priest pack from this right here, and a holy symbol we already got once. Doesn't really matter. You can get a priest pack or explorer's pack. Like, it doesn't technically matter. Like, let's see if I can find it exactly. Technically matters. Equipment packs. Explorer's pack, backpack, bedroll, mess kit, tinderbox, 10 torches, 10 days of rations, a water skin, pack of 60 feet of hemp rope, strap to the side of it, priest pack, backpack, blanket, 10 candles, tinderbox, an alms, 2 blocks of incense, a censer, vestments, 2 days of rations, and water skin. So, like, alright, rope is pretty important in rations, but they're not that different. So I would have to